Hi, my name is Dr. Ritamarie Loscalzo. What do
Okay.
you want? Do you want me to say more than that or just?
Yeah. What do you do? What's your?
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, so hi, my name is, let me just do a pause so you can edit it. Hi, my name is Dr. Rita Marie Loscalzo, and I work with people who have hormone imbalances and low energy, and I help them to restore their health and through natural means, nutrition and lifestyle. And I also run a program called the Institute of Nutritional Endocrinology, where I train practitioners on how to help their patients using holistic and integrative approaches.
Okay. Awesome. How did you get to this path, to this healing journey?
I came to this through my own healing journey. Back in my 20s, my health was falling apart, and I was feeling a lot of symptoms that I went to traditional medical doctors to try to handle. And they didn't have solutions for me other than take this drug or do this little surgery here or there. And I was frustrated and I wanted to get better. I was 25 years old. And so I started to ask, could it be related to nutrition? Could it be my diet? I have a really bad diet. What do you think? And they all said no. But I didn't believe them, so I started looking for alternatives and I started reading and researching. And very long story, very, very short, is I found ways through nutrition, through healing, and I share it all in my chapter about what happened to me and how I found solutions to my health problems. And now I'm a lot older than that. I won't say how old, but I'm a lot older than that. And I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. I have more energy, I have more mental clarity, lots of success, and just lots of joy.
Oh, awesome. Who are the people who come to you? What is their main problem, or why do you think they find you as a solution to their issues?
Yeah, a lot of the people that come to me are struggling because they just don't have the energy to do what they love to do, or to be productive at work, or to be present with their family members or their kids or their grandkids, and they're frustrated with it. They have this, kind of the mental clarity is not there. They feel like they're in a brain fog. And they may be struggling with a little extra weight that no matter what they do, they just don't seem to be able to get rid of. And they've been to doctor after doctor usually, or they're afraid to go to a doctor because they don't know that they're going to find a solution, and they just haven't been given the right attention. They haven't been given the right solutions, or they haven't been explained how to look at their diet and how to change their diet appropriately and how the lifestyle plays in. And that's where I come in.
So why didn't you believe the doctors when you first went to them, saying that your diet was okay? Why didn't you believe them?
Why didn't I? Because, well, first of all, they didn't ask me about my diet. It wasn't until I asked them. But I was having all sorts of problems. And the last one that I was being evaluated for was stomach pain. And so when I said to them, after they said, you don't have an ulcer, we don't know what it is, take ulcer medication just in case or whatever. And I said, what? I'm 25. Why should I do that? And could it be my diet? Because after all, the food goes through there. And they said, oh, no, no, just drink a lot of milk if you worry about your diet, and that'll coat your stomach and everything will be fine. And I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. If it goes through my stomach, it's got to be, so let me look into it. So I started going to at the time, the only place you could do research was the public library or the bookstores. And even the bookstores, there were very few books about nutrition. And so I went there and I started reading and I got fascinated with it. And I started making dietary changes. And I went through a long period of trying to figure out what the right thing was for me. And once I did, I was so excited that I decided to quit my job as a computer analyst back then. And I decided that I was going to go back to school and I was going to become a doctor so that I could help other people not have to have this long, arduous path to getting well.
What are the challenges that you face in this journey, especially as a doctor?
Well, I think the biggest is the mindset that people have the mindset that their doctors know everything. And if it was something related to diet or nutrition, wouldn't the doctors know, and wouldn't the doctors tell them that that was what to do? I think the other challenges are the power of the media and brainwashing people. We believe that the government is taking care of us and wouldn't put things out there or allow things to be out there if they were unsafe. Big, companies like the drug companies and Monsanto control the media with lots of dollars, and they people like they're led to believe that those things are safe. that the pesticides and the herbicides and the GMOs in food are safe. It's just giving us a better, wider health, supply of food, when indeed it's causing a lot of problems, and they don't want to look at it. And that the drugs, there's alternatives to them, that you don't have to drug yourself. We look for a root cause. I'm all about finding the root cause and then correcting the root cause, not just putting a band-aid on top of it.
And can you share a success story about one of your patients?
I have so many. Let me think about one. I have one, and I tell this story a lot, but it's such a profound story, and it's just such a profound healing. I had a patient, she was about 65 years old, and this was before she became my patient. She was on medication for thyroid. She'd been told she had Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease. She was on medication for her blood pressure. She just had a hip and knee surgery to replace them because of wear and tear. And she was very overweight, like over 100 pounds of extra weight on her. And the straw that broke the camel's back for her was she went to the doctor and had her checkup, and they said, well, you're almost diabetic, you're borderline diabetic. And she freaked out and said, well, my mother was diabetic, and my aunts and uncles and people have died of diabetes in my family. I don't want to become diabetic. What should I do? And the doctor told her this. He said, come back in 6 months, and if you're diabetic, we'll put you on medication. And she was like, wait a minute, but I don't want to become. He goes, well, you can lose weight. And she said, yeah, but what else? How do I? That was it. So she left, and she was desperate. She got online, she started searching the internet, and she found a program that I was doing on, it was like a two little seminars on insulin resistance and diabetes and prediabetes and the things that you could do naturally to help yourself. She went and did that course, and she just like, whoa, I'm going to change. And she started to incorporate some of the changes. But it was slow going, but still she lost like 22 pounds in the first month, and she was feeling better. And so then she came and took another class that I started, which was more a little longer, like 12-week program, where I was coaching people through how to actually make these changes and how to measure their own blood glucose and all. So she had been measured as having her blood glucose at 119 when the doctor said, hey, you have a problem. That's high. And so she started measuring it in the program. And within a very short period of time, she's starting the weights continuing to come down, 55 pounds, 75 pounds, blood sugars down in the 80s. And finally, she goes back into a new doctor to be examined to see, her annual checkup or whatever. And the doctor looked at her and said, you don't look like your chart. And she says, no, I've lost a lot of weight and I'm doing all this stuff. She goes, let's just go take you off all your medication for a month and then come back and we'll see what you really need. She did that, came back, still had continued to lose weight. And the doctor said, there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfectly fine. You don't need any medication. You must have been misdiagnosed because Hashimoto's doesn't go away. And she was like, no, but you don't understand. I did this and I did that. And she goes, and you mustn't have been pre-diabetic because your blood sugars are perfectly normal. She said, but it's what I did. Don't you want to hear? Don't you want to hear so you could share it with your patients? And then she said, no, 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 no. Just whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. And that was it. And so she's continued to lose all 110 pounds, and she's off all medication, and she's now 67 or 68, 69. I think she's 69 now.
Mm-hmm.
And she feels great, and she's started a new business with her husband. They're making smoothies and sharing with people, and she's telling everybody about the things she did, and it's exciting.
What do you think that the traditional medical paths or doctors don't want to see these things as something that heals people? Why did they don't want to see that food is what is poisoning us and or getting us sick in some cases?
It's a great question, and I wish I knew. But on the one hand, like, first of all, they weren't taught that in medical school. And a lot of doctors were not trained in how to think, they were trained in what to do. And they think, well, I wasn't taught to do that. Rather than thinking, wow, what you're saying makes sense. No, I didn't learn that in medical school, so it couldn't be true. So it's blind faith, it's closed-mindedness, and it takes extra work. I mean, it's a lot easier to see somebody for 15 minutes or 10 minutes and write a prescription, send them on their way, and be done with it, rather than dealing with the diet stuff. They didn't learn diet in school. They really didn't. So they don't know how to do it. there's a lot of them who are open to it. A lot of them are just, they'll hire a nutritionist to come into their office to work with the people on the exact things to do. And they're open about it. But the majority of them, I think, a lot of their education comes from the drug companies. So the drug company rep comes in and just takes them to lunch and does all these great things and tells them about the latest and the greatest of the new medications. And they go, oh, that's great. Now I know what to do. As opposed to nutrition, there's a lot of work involved from a practitioner standpoint to dig and learn and understand it and work one on one very carefully with a person to get them back to health. And I think that's a big part of it. And they're scared. That's another thing. They're scared they're going to lose their license because a lot of medical boards are cracking down on doctors who don't follow the party line. And so they're afraid they're going to lose their license or worse. So I think that's a lot of the reason. But more and more of them are on this path. We have several of them in our practitioner, our nutritional endocrinology practitioner training, who are saying, I wish I learned this stuff in medical school. And the stuff I learned in medical school isn't working for my patients. I'm tired of writing prescriptions and seeing people for the same problems over and over again. I want real solutions.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. The, the fear is a lot
Mhm.
of reasons
Here is
in
a
this
big
world.
reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what rewards you the most with your patients and with your practice?
Mm. What rewards me the most is when the light bulb goes on and I could see it in their eyes and they get it and then they do something and suddenly they've got their energy back. Suddenly they've got their life back. Suddenly they're saying, "Oh my God, now I can do, all these other things that I've been wanting to do." It just so warms me because I've seen too many people suffer, my own family members who just think I'm a quack and nutty, and they don't they don't really believe. And so we've lost them. I lost my mom at age 56, my dad at age 64, my sister in her 40s from cancer. And I see it more and more and more. And it rewards me when I see people just take it and say, I'm going to think for myself. I'm going to do what I know is right for me. And then they get results. That, I mean, it just lights me up. It warms me so much.
So, I read in your chapter that you help them make a personalized nutrition plan.
Yeah.
How do you help them? What are the main things that make that you need to take account to make a personalized
Yeah,
nutrition
that's an
program?
awesome question. I love that question because there's a lot of things that go into account. So, a lot of their history up until now, do they have all their organs intact, right? Have they had surgeries or they've had things removed that, so you have to really see what do they have to do to make up for and not strain that area because there's a missing part. And what do you have to do for that? Um, Looking at their past history, what are their family tendencies? If we have genetics material, we can do that these days with the genetic testing that's out there. We can look at their genes. Do they have certain genes that would help make it harder for them to do certain activities? And they're going to need more of a certain nutrient or food to do that. Have they been in car accidents, surgeries, all that? All that plays in. What kind of environment do they live in? Do they live out in the country, where everything's nice and there's, fresh air and sunshine, and where they live in the city where they're breathing in fumes and exhaust fumes? Are going to need a lot more nutrition to shore up their detoxification systems. And then, of course, big one, what are they eating now? And what are their favorite foods and what foods won't they eat? I ask a question to everybody is, what food will you not eat no matter what I tell you is the health benefit? And if they have a few things there, we're not going to make them eat that, but we'll look to see if those are important foods, how we're going to get those nutritions in other ways. And if I say, well, what food will you continue to eat no matter how bad I tell you it is for you? And then we get a clue and I'll go, sometimes I'll say, you know what? I can't help you because if you're going to continue to eat that, I don't have a magic wand. Right. And in some cases, it might be they won't eat peas because no matter what, or they won't stop eating, whatever it might be. Some people will actually say, oh, I will never stop eating greens no matter what you tell me because I love them and I know that they're nutritious deep in my heart. And I'm like, good, I'm not going to ask you to stop eating greens. Right? But I'm going to ask you to stop eating some things that maybe are some favorite foods, at least temporarily, especially if you're having a problem with insulin resistance and other kinds of things.
Okay. What is your next step in your career?
So the big thing for me is I have a big mission, and my mission is to help us overhaul our disease care management, our disease management system, which you can't even call what the system is a healthcare system because it's not. It's not healthy and it doesn't take care of anybody. It just is managing disease, right? And they're good at managing disease, but I want to overhaul that so that it becomes a true healthcare system. So that everybody, when you take your kid into the doctor because they have attention problems or sniffly nose or asthma, that the doctor sits you down and say, what are you feeding your child? How much TV are they watching? What kind of video games are they playing? How much fresh air are they getting? How much movement are they getting? And that doctor, every doctor knows how to design that program. So my ultimate goal would be to get what I'm teaching in my program to be taught in medical schools. That's not going to happen in my lifetime, right? But what about post education, postgraduate education? So my goal is to build the Institute of Nutritional Endocrinology to be a place where when my students graduate and then they become, some of them will become faculty, and that we build this to be something that can handle a lot of people. And then the we just get a lot of folks in there and we give them the tools. We give the practitioners the tools. Like, well, here's some recipe guides you can share with your clients. Here's some checklists. Here's some how-tos. Here's some videos. All this stuff I've created, I want to be able to get it out there and in the hands of these practitioners so that they can use it with their clients. So that's what's ahead for me.
Wow, that's an amazing one. I'm really excited about it. Yes. So, if you could define yourself and your journey, what word would that be?
Passion.
Passion. Why
Passion
passion?
and commitment.
Why those two
Why
words?
those two words? Because it charges me up and I get excited by it. I could be like going on 2 hours of sleep, but if I have something that I have to do that's related to getting this message out there, I'm doing it. And commitment, it's like, what do I need to do to help get this out there to the world? So I do it. I just passionate and I'm committed. I want to see this happen.
Thank you, Rita Marie. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.